Yo, it's got us dying right now. It's got me dying. You know,
How do you
Amit
know
makes the titles.
what gave it away? The all lowercase, the emoji.
Dude, the titles don't matter though. People still
I
show
thought
up.
he
It matters a little. Matters a little. I think
did it say Amit makes titties.
No, it says Amit makes the titles.
with with thumbnails as good as ours, though. I don't think we need.
Dude, I've
need
used
a
the same
thumbnails guy in
thumbnail.
there.
I've used the same thumbnail for 3 months.
I have ivermectin poisoning.
I was just like, fuck it, dude. We're just gonna show up and we'll be here. All right. So, first of all, how are you guys' weekend? Chris, what'd you do?
I actually went on a hike with a friend. Yeah, the weather was pretty good. Like this is like the perfect weather in between spring and summer, where you can actually go out and enjoy. The only thing is the pollen can get quite heavy here in the south, so you have to just be a little bit mindful of that. But dude, the weather is amazing.
Okay, Vitaly, what'd you do? What'd you eat at Cheesecake? Did I get it right?
How'd you
Did you
know?
go? Did you go? Did you actually go?
We did go.
Like, dude, you're obsessed with this company. What the
I know. I really should invest. It's always
really
busy
should.
too.
You're quite the food connoisseur.
Yeah.
You're quite the Sparta.
So
what cheesecake did you
like,
get? What cheesecake did you get though? Which one? The banana?
No, I actually got. We get the strawberry shortcake. Do you know what that one is?
I've never had
That
that
was
one.
good.
No.
It's not a cheesecake. It's biscuits with ice cream, and anyway, it's good.
Okay.
That is
Cool.
good.
Or what else did you do? That's it? Cheesecake?
Yeah, that's all we did. How's the whole weekend? Kids are playing baseball and all these things, so we went to a baseball game. My kids' team is totally killing it, destroying the other team. I think the last game was it was 19 to like 7. It was ridiculous.
I mean, at some point, but what about mercy? Don't you guys have mercy rules?
Well, so yeah, so
No.
it was the fourth inning. If you're up over 10 on the fourth inning, they
Oh.
just call it.
They call the game. Yeah.
Yeah. They were up 15 at one point. If they held that 15 lead, that would have been the third inning, but the team got a couple of runs in. So that was actually a really good game. Yeah.
That's
These
fun.
kids are getting really good. I mean, like watching them grow up and like just get actually. And today we played basketball outside of the house.
Yeah.
And my kid is 10. He's way shorter than me, but I'm old, so I ran out of steam at some point.
Right.
He won. He beat me. I gotta say. He's like 4 foot tall. Okay.
He's running around you like Spud Webb.
You're
Yeah,
gonna
he's
make
pretty
fun of me,
fast.
but I played softball when I was little,
Oh,
not baseball. It was the bitch version of baseball, basically.
that is a woman's sport.
that is good.
And then I
So
quit
you-
after like
so
2
you're-
weeks. I hurt my thumb.
what you're saying is you're a virgin.
Yes. All right. What did you do over the weekend, Carlos?
Hung out with the kid. Just hung out with the kid. Both of them. Just hung out, did some stuff local. Went out, got some food. It was a pretty busy week last week, so just took it easy. There, like my oldest is at an age now where I can actually watch movies with her, so we can sit down. I've watched Mario Brothers like 100 times, and so that's cool. And that was really it. What did I do?
All right. I think let's get this first topic out of the way. This is the big one, so let's talk about it.
Why don't we save it for the end?
You want to save it for the end?
Yeah. Why don't we just talk about? I actually don't want to talk about Tesla today.
You're so tired.
anyone that has friends who are Tesla investors, you're on the phone for like 4 hours the day before.
You've been on the phone today.
Oh my God.
This is why I've lost all my friends now.
Seriously, yeah. And I don't want to do it. I just don't want to even talk. But
Well,
it's
the good news is, I mean, we could bring this up later, but I think tomorrow I'm going to be buying some Tesla finally. I'm going to start my DCA as it does whatever it does.
Yeah, I think a lot of people might get excited tomorrow
if we
the
get
results go the way we think they
all,
can go.
the all rug pull.
The old rug pull. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a bit. Let's talk about the macro then. S&P had a nice little rebound today, along with the Nasdaq. Pretty much every stock besides Tesla was green.
And Verizon. Verizon got absolutely killed today.
Well,
which made no sense,
it was weird. Okay, so let's start with Verizon. We could talk about the macro. I thought they had a good earnings. They were up 4%. They ended down 4%. So, Chris, what happened with Verizon and your take on
think they had a good earnings, right? They beat.
Yeah, they beat earnings. Yeah, there was a lot of positivity behind them. It's just, I think the 10-year right now is just impacting a lot of companies and a lot of growthier names. So a lot of people that are in the Verizon name are primarily there for the dividend. And right now the dividend relative to the to the 10-year is not as juicy, right? So right now you could sit on a 10-year yield of about 4.5%, 5%. Well, not five, but like 4.7% roughly. And you can make some decent earnings. So I mean, so a lot of people are like, hey, why even take the risk on being in Verizon? The other thing is Verizon does have a lot of debt. The thing is, though, pretty much most of their debt is long-term fixed rate interest debt. So it's not like something that they have to worry about. The one part that they did miss on was just that revenue number, which was very, very slight miss, but profitability is there, cash flow is there. I thought it was great numbers, but sometimes the market just, interprets things a different way. And so Verizon took a nasty hit today while everything else was up. The other thing is, I think today was a reversal of what we saw on Friday. So if you saw Friday, it was the complete opposite, where you had all the growth tech names all getting absolutely destroyed. But then you had all the value plays like the banks, commercial real estate, Verizon, the ones that are yielders actually holding up really well. So, I think these are just market blips that we see. I think over the long term, Verizon should be fine. It's given a pretty juicy yield right now. Dividend is relatively safe. They're probably gonna increase the dividend sometime later this year, not by much, but they're a healthy company. They're doing fine.
Doesn't the
Well, I go ahead.
just talking about the yield. I was reading that there's actually a problem that they can't get people to buy the 10-year yield now, even though because it's just because the rates are too high, and so companies like they are going to companies like Verizon. This seems contradictory. What's happening?
What do you mean?
That people are getting better. People can find better gains by investing in individual stocks versus the 10 years. This is at least what I was looking at.
I mean, it should always be the case where you get a higher yield in the equities market than in the bond market. I mean, it rarely ever flips the other way. The reason why people buy, especially U.S. Treasuries versus, let's say, corporate debt or dividend yielding stocks, is primarily because of the safety aspect, right?
Yeah.
So if they feel that if the company is giving you that risk premium that's worth it, then they'll buy into it. If they don't feel like the risk premium is there, then they'll just buy the U.S. Treasury. And usually there's like a spread between U.S. like the 10-year and the value of the underlying security, like the yield on it. So right now, everyone is pretty satisfied with the current yield that they're getting on their 2-year treasuries and their 10-year treasuries. So a lot of people are just hanging back, chilling on that. The question is, when yields start to go in reverse and start to come down, what's going to happen? So right now, if we truly are in a higher for longer scenario, why would you want to be in Verizon and take that risk? Whereas you could just be in, let's say, the 2-year treasury, which has zero risk at all, and you're getting nearly the same amount of return minus the tax benefit that you get from a treasury versus a dividend play. So.
Well, that's what I was about to say, that your thesis was that if rates come down, then people are going to go fly into these stocks that pay a high dividend. And now there is no rush to do that if rates are not going to come down as fast as people think. So whatever, 6 more months, it's still coming down. I get
absolutely.
It's delayed, but this delayed. We're talking about months or a year max. Once again, those are short-term people. I'm not thinking that way.
Well, what do you think about this? I've seen, like, Jesse's one of the more vocal guys. He actually, I think, posted a video on it today that due to the fact that we are now, with the rates being so high, we're now paying more in interest than we are for the defense budget, that they've got to do something. And that even if we have no indications, it's highly
They are
likely
doing
that
something. They're printing more money. I keep going back to.
Aside from exacerbating the problem, there's an argument being made that even though it's not being telegraphed, that we kind of have to have some sort of rate cut, even if it's just for election posturing, and that would come as a surprise, right, over the summer. What do you guys think of that?
I feel like that. Or Chris, you can show this, then I'll talk. But you're muted.
Make it a little bigger.
Yeah. So if you look at this data right here, this chart right here is tracking the 10-year. Well, first it's tracking the federal funds rate, the upper limit of it, which is this line right here. So you can see right here, we are in restrictive mode, right? Restrictive mode is going to get you pretty much means that the treasury is giving you a better yield than you would get from the other parts of the market. So if you look at the S&P 500 yield, right, which is this line right here, this top line, right now, this top line is actually below the 10-year, the 10-year treasury yield that you're going to get. So if you invest in the S&P 500 right now, you're looking at like roughly, let me just take the other things off. Currently, the S&P 500 is yielding like close to about 3.4, 3.5. So you can see here yields have gone down significantly. Now that this is earnings yield, not actual yield itself. Every company is going to have a different yield. And I suspect if we took out the Mag 7, the yield here would be even lower. So, you know, the prospect of being the S&P 500 right now is not the greatest thing, especially when you compare to the federal funds rate, which is close to here. So even if you're just in short-term treasuries, which is between 5.25 and 5.5, you're getting a better yield than the S&P 500. You know, so right now, by buying the S&P 500, you're actually taking more of a risk than you would be if you were just in the federal funds rate. Now, the key here is is that when the federal funds rate starts to come down, there's going to be this entire equation flips on the opposite end, right? So if you see here historically, the S&P 500 yields a much higher yield. Well, not historical. This is the last 10 years. Let's look at overall. You can see that it usually is way above what is that thing called? Way above the equity. Equities tend to have a much better yield overall than the federal funds rate. Right now, it's the exact opposite. That's why everyone keeps saying we're in restrictive mode. Now, the good thing is the benchmark that the Federal Reserve is using in order to track this, to basically make their decision, which is the core PCE, that is actually still trending down, which is a good thing, right? So let me just put that back up here. 1 second. Right here. So you can see here over the last, long time, for the most part, the core PCE has been below between 2.25% and probably 1%. The Fed is trying to get to about 2%, but I think if they get to about 2.25 or 2.5, they should be fine. Right now you're at 2.78. So you're not that far off from your goal anyway. It's just right now, one of the problems that we're seeing is that if you look at some of the other charts, you can see that there is a little bit of a re-acceleration. So I just want to say that this right here is going to be very important on Friday, because the data for core PCE is coming out on Friday. If core PCE continues its trend downward, then I think we're golden. I don't think that the Fed is going to have too many reasons not to cut, especially in 2025. So, I mean, a lot of my investing thesis is based on those cuts. It's just a matter of when are they going to cut,
Yeah.
I think core PC is going to be the big metric, right? And that's at 2.65, so that's closer to the 2% the Fed wants versus 3.5 on headline. If that inches down, I think it can get a little exciting. But why do you guys think the markets didn't continue to fall like they did last week? Do you think it was just enough and people were ready to buy the dip that easily?
Say that again?
Well, I mean, it's dead cat bounce.
It was oversold. Not a dead cat bounce. But there's a lot of oversold conditions on all the charts, basically. So at some point, it has to stop going up. Even in a mini bear market, in a bull market, whatever, a pullback. Well, let's just call it a pullback. There has to be a reversal at some point, right? So even Tesla, we can talk about it later, but I'm expecting a bounce at some point, whether it's a couple of days or what. Like, it just can't keep going down, down, down without a little bit of a retracement and then continue going down. It's the same thing.
Chris, you're muted, dude.
You're muted.
Just pulling up the chart of the S&P 500. Hold on.
What'd you say, Vitaly?
Yes, learn how to use that, Mike.
I'm trying to get this damn chart view. 1 second.
The RSI was at 29 on QQQ, so it did make sense that it.
I mean, that's low, dude. Yeah,
got oversold. Yeah, but it's so funny how it got oversold, and it's still up so much. It's like once you get to new levels, now if you fall a little bit, you're still up.
Well, no, it was the speed of the fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yep, that's also
And I think Tom Lee said it while he brings up the chart, but we take the escalator up and the elevator down in bull markets. But it's a bull market.
Yeah, take a look at this. So if we look at this, the RSI had gone all the way. This is for the SPY for the S&P 500.
Is Meta doing a stock split? Is this true or no? He just said
It could be.
I-
It could be.
That'd be fucking sweet.
So you can see here we were at 50 like 5200. It's traced back down to like almost 500 right now, but you can see the RSI started to hit really the lows in like the 30s right now for SPY. So I mean, yeah, I think we're going to see a bit of a bounce, but that doesn't mean that it's going to bounce the opposite direction like a V-shaped recovery. If we look at October and especially last July, it can hang down here for about for some time, right? The key is just finding those companies that are oversold along with these things and then that are still performing really well and buying them into this weakness and then just riding the market higher. So, you know. And also, if we look at, let's look at MACD as well. Actually, let's look at the moving averages. So the moving averages, it's still far away from its 200-day, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
So if PCE really does come down, then I think the markets, because they were oversold and inflation's headed in the right direction, maybe we do get a little bit of a.
I mean, look, you can
retest of all-time high.
You can make an argument that a lot of the reasons why markets have been pumping is in anticipation of the rate cuts that never seem to come.
Yeah.
Right. And so I use this phrase all the time, but it's this idea of like, give me a reason, right? Give me a reason to buy the stock. If you have great earnings, I'm going to buy it. You give me a reason to sell, I'm going to sell. And so that's what I think's at play here. It's people trying to posture while maintaining safe, but they want to have a good position when the rate cuts do come, but you don't want to be bag holding, right? Especially if you get bad news that it's not. That's why I feel like if we do get it, I think it's going to be a surprise. It'll be something, the job number or unemployment numbers or something over the summer.
Okay.
Honestly, a cool-off period wouldn't be so bad. Look, if the stock is going down and you weren't going to sell it anyway, a nice cool-off where we can accumulate some of these things that we want, maybe more Robinhood, as I'm waiting for 14.
Yeah.
So
I
don't think that
we get there.
it's not such a bad thing that this happens, by the way. And plus, like I said, in a bull market, you need the cool-off period in order to continue the bull market, because otherwise there's a euphoric top, which we didn't get yet. I don't believe we did. That would be bad news, okay? Because what follows next is probably either a recession or a crash. I'm not interested in that right now. I'm interested at the SPY at 6,000. That's what I'm interested in.
Chris and I were talking about that on the market open on Friday. We were like, let's just get our money in 2024 and get the fuck out. And then 2025, we'll watch the world burn. We'll get our money this year. We'll stay in cash 2025. But like this year, we're making our money, dude.
But
forget about selling May. It's like sell in December, go away for the year.
Yeah, get the fuck out.
But the more people who don't believe in that we are in a bull market, I think we are. But the more people who don't believe in it, the better the euphoric rise will be when they actually understand.
Yeah, dude. When Bitcoin gets to 85, 90K, things are gonna get crazy. I mean, in terms
I
of
still don't think that's part of. I mean, that's for crypto. I understand, but that's assuming Nasdaq, the Qs are up as well, and SPY is up. Is that what you're saying at the same time?
Well, I don't think Bitcoin can go up without the Qs. I think Bitcoin's with the stock market, dude. Like,
I think Bitcoin's in its own trajectory right now.
Bitcoin's in its own trajectory, but it is the quintessential risk on asset. So if it does well, I do think that the halo effect does scatter over the stocks because people go, "Oh my God, Bitcoin's fucking tearing right now," right? And now that Bitcoin is kind of trading on the stock market, it has more of a relation than it did before.
Right. I didn't say I would break up with the stock market. I'm still going to cover it every day. I'm just not going to have all the money invested.
It's like I'll sleep with it, but I'm not gonna curl or anything.
Your options expire anyway in 2025.
No, my options expired January 17, 2025. So January 1st, I'm selling them.
90% of the portfolio is options. All right, so you're out anyway, no matter what.
No, it's in VITALY. It's in derivatives.
It's 97
derivatives. He's a derivatives trader. Everybody.
What do you guys think about this? The Financial Times reported that they are surveying people to do 24-hour markets, just like Robinhood does across the entire
crypto
market.
does it. Crypto does it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense. Honestly, I don't think it really does.
I love the stock market. I don't like this idea. I don't like this idea
because it adds another level of risk, right? You have to worry about what happens to your stocks while you're sleeping. And the reason why crypto works is because it's 24 hours. So it's always daytime for somebody. The idea that like all this movement can happen after hours at night when there's super low volume, right? I think that's a bit scary. And it's also like, do we really need to be trading stocks at 4 a.m.?
Yeah, I kind of just like having the idea of at 9:30 it opens, before it closes.
Market.
You have some after hours, but you don't have to literally like if it's 24/7, dude, and we never get a break. Like, I think we would just go insane.
Yeah.
right?
I mean, look, that's the argument I'm making for even social media. I mean, how nice if it shut off at a certain time, or even maybe at 16 years old, it shuts off after 10, 8 or 10 or whatever it is. Same thing with the markets. Like,
You can move to China and have that happen.
yeah, okay.
Like, I don't think social media has to shut off. I think if we choose not to be on it, there's no crazy impact. If you choose not to like kind of keep up with the markets, I mean, unless you're in old index funds, you're.
Well, what do you think it's like in crypto? I mean, I
don't have a lot of money in crypto, so I don't worry about it.
I have, I basically.
You should. It affects your next day Robinhood options.
Right. He's like, I don't want to buy the asset. I just want to buy the company that sells the asset.
Okay, but Vitaly, would you want 24-hour markets for the stock market?
No. I think crypto is the exception. Obviously, it's a worldwide market.
Yeah.
But I don't think we should have that. I don't think Robinhood is doing us a favor.
No, I actually like that Robinhood's doing it because it's like one little platform that people can go to see stocks. But
No.
it's not like the entire Fidelity, Schwab infrastructure.
Yeah, but if it's big enough, if once it gets big enough, maybe it's getting there. Who knows? It affects the mentality of the people coming in the next day. So
I don't know if your camera died. We were talking about this while your camera died, but I mean, imagine now if you've got 500,000 in a fucking stock and you're worried. Now you have to worry at night when the stock closes that
right,
some
at 3 a.m.
yeah, like before earnings, some idiot with low volume trading tanks your stock. You wake up the next morning and it's you've lost a lot of value. How do you protect against that?
Well, no, I mean, but once again, the low volume thing will bring it back to reality, whatever is supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Robinhood affects us that much, and I think I made a comment on your Twitter. I admit that yes, if something sells off in after hours, that could mean something, but a lot of times it doesn't. Because when
it doesn't affect the stock, but given like Tesla had 400,000 shares in overnight volume, and in the pre-market they had 1.2 million. So Robinhood had 33% of Tesla's pre-market action, which is like
a lot.
Well, I mean, Tesla opened red, right? So it's not the biggest effect, but I like that it's on Robinhood. People go to it, they check it. Like some people will trade, but it's not the entire market, dude. If it's the entire market,
I just don't think it's necessary. I think that's one of those things where it's like, yes, you can, but why?
KRIS, your thoughts? 24 hours.
I mean, technically, there's already 24-hour trading. It's just some companies are listed in multiple zones. Like if you look at it, somewhere there's a market open in China and in France and Europe, blah blah blah. But I do think that there has to be a pause, especially for a lot of things to settle. Low volume trading can really have wild swings in either direction that can really distort market pricing. So I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan. I think that 9:30 to 4 is fine.
Dude, it's like a job. It's like a 9 to 5. Everyone hates a 9 to 5. I kind of like it. It's 9 to 5, and then everyone shuts the hell up about the market.
But
9 to 5. We're gonna do 3 more podcasts after that.
But accept it for a second. Like just really embrace it and say, okay, now markets are 24 hours. That means you could have there's 2 shifts. There's like the day shift, there's the night shift. There's all these different things that now become possible. You could literally be streaming live at 3 a.m. and there will probably be an audience.
It's good for content creators, but like I need some sanity, dude. Like I like having the schedule of I wake up, I do the show, I cover the markets, then I go to sleep. Like it's just if you're covering it all day. I mean, the Bitcoin blogs must love it because they can. But then again, it's just one asset. It's crypto, and I know there's a lot of coins, but like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, that's it. With stocks, imagine Microsoft's fucking trading it.
But that's really how it is. You have the mega cap cryptos, the smaller ones, and then those micro shit coins. It's the same thing in the stock market, except just on a smaller market cap scale. But I don't know. I'm not a fan.
There was a really.
What about in the chat? Anybody in the chat? Just a simple like thumbs up, thumbs down. Would you want to be trading? Fucking.
Citadel would love that. Citadel would love that shit. But there is something that actually came out this weekend in the Wall Street Journal that one of our friends sent me. I had a good chance to take a look at it. And I think this is one of those things that's probably going to lead to lower interest rates going forward. So Wall Street Journal, they came up, they had this post on here. These home sellers are done waiting for the Fed to lower rates. People need to upsize, downsize, and change jobs. Even mortgage rates don't come down. So they kind of gave a list of all these people who are in the process of, basically moving their housing situation. A lot of them were waiting for rates to come down. Like right now, if you have a 3.5% mortgage, you're not exactly, the first person to say, let me buy a new house based on my needs and then end up paying 7.5%. Right now, mortgages just hit, I think 7.7 for 30-year fix, almost like 8% right now. So it's crazy the rates that we have now, especially when you compare them to literally 2 years ago. So the point here that I was looking through is that these are the people that have gotten frustrated with the current, with the waiting situation. I think there's a plethora of people that are waiting to sell their homes and put a lot of those homes on the market. The reason why they aren't doing that nearly as much is because right now, if they gave up their current home and they wanted to, let's say, downsize. Let's say right now you're a boomer, you're in your 60s, you want to retire. If you leave your current home, you are not guaranteed another place at even a reasonable interest rate. You're going to be paying just as much. So there's no point to downsizing. So I think there's a huge wave of home sellers that it's going to be coming down in about, I don't know, maybe within a year or two. And I think once these rates start to come down, a lot of people are going to be moving, in which case inventory is going to start to really climb up. Now, here's the part that's going to probably I wouldn't say shock a lot of people, but I think what's going to happen is when people start to put a lot of these homes on the market, there's going to be a huge segment of buyers that are going to look at prices and the prices coming down and interest rates coming down at the same time. And they're going to say, I'm going to wait and I'm going to wait and I'm going to wait. And I think that is going to cause a lot of shelter deflation in probably 2025 and possibly even cause a recession. So we'll see what happens.
I will agree with you on that, but I can't see that there would be enough potential buyers on the sidelines that it would actually cause a recession.
I agree, Carlos.
No, I mean, what he's saying is absolutely true. That happens all the time. It's like you always.
No, what did you say? I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying I can agree with you that there will be a bunch of people that will sideline themselves because they're always going to wait. There's always a subset of that population that always will wait, and they will essentially wait themselves out of existence. But I don't know that that's going to be enough to cause a housing crash.
Well, right now, if you look at affordability as near all-time lows right now. Literally, house prices are at their height. Interest rates are at their height especially when you adjust it for inflation. So right now, if you are buying a house right now, you are literally forcing yourself to buy this house because your life situation really requires you to buy it. I'm not sure too many people right now that are like, oh yeah, you know what? I want to buy into this current market. Like very few times have I ever seen times where it makes more sense to rent than to buy. And I think this is the first time in a long time that that's happened. So we'll see what happens.
Interesting.
Okay, let's preview big tech this week. So we've got Microsoft. Google.
Wait. Someone asked a very good question. Let me just answer it really quickly. Someone said, how would that cause a recession? Okay. Do you guys know how that would cause a recession? Considering we already lived through one of them, so go ahead.
I mean, wouldn't house prices plummet?
Right, but how would that cause a recession?
Ownership would go down. Equity in your homes would go down. The collateral that your home is for a lot of the debt you have would essentially be margin called to an extent.
So you're somewhat right. Right now, when it comes to people spending money, people spend money based on their perception of wealth, right? So if you feel like your home is worth $1 million, you have no problem going out and, going a little bit further and extending out your
dude, when Robinhood goes up, I get 2 4 for 4s at Wendy's.
Okay, great.
Because the perception is I'm going to be rich. So even though I didn't take any profits, but
He's like, yeah, supersize that shit. Yeah,
literally, I
Yeah,
get
I
that
want it all.
supersize it.
So the perception is right now, if you look at everyone's 401ks, if you look at people's houses, if you're sitting on low interest rate, but at the same time, the home that you live in has appreciated significantly, you have this wealth effect where you feel wealthy. Now, if the prices of the homes that you have actually reverses and goes in the opposite direction, what ends up happening is people, they scale back on spending. And the thing is, once people start scaling back on spending, that is what causes a recession. So imagine right now, Amit, you buy less stuff. That
Yeah.
means that the people who are providing goods and services, they don't get that business because you spent less. Now,
Yep.
because they don't spend as much, they don't get as many customers, they have to cut back. And if they have to cut back, then it's a cascading effect going the other way. Now, here's the thing. Usually the federal government is supposed to come in and kind of like boost the economy up by supporting it, by doing additional spending. The US government, in because of all the inflation issues that we've had in the past, is less likely to kind of step into the market this time around. At least in my opinion, they're less likely to step in, which means that we might actually have a somewhat of a prolonged recession. So my thing is, for probably the next 10 years, is we're going to see a deflationary wave hit us. And I think shelter is going to lead the way, where shelter price appreciation on homes is not going to be nearly the level that we saw post great financial crisis, which means that that is going to be like almost like an anchor on inflation going forward. So, and then when you combine that with all the technology improvements, right, that's deflationary. That's going to add into it. So I think we're going to get below the 2% level. And once we get there, I think we're going to stay there for a long time.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so we got Meta.
Real estate is going to boom probably for a decade. You hear me?
Yeah,
you
you're
hear
a
me?
little slow. Go ahead.
You
Go
were
ahead.
frozen for a second.
Sorry. I don't know if I'm saying
You're
I'm
good.
taking the other side of this. I think real estate is going to you hear me? Is something
you're
going
good.
on?
Yeah.
Hello? Okay. Real estate's going to boom. I don't know if you guys, once again, I'm bringing up Tom Lee, but he goes into demographics. That's actually very important as the millennials take over the next turn and start making real money. They're going to want to buy houses. Real estate is going to boom. Do not be talked out of a house, anyone in this chat, anyone in the audience, because you think something's going to happen with the economy or the macro or 10 years from now or 15 years from now. I suggest if you need to buy a home or you want to live somewhere, you go ahead and do that, because that's going to be the best thing for you, because you're not going to beat real estate in the long term, and it's going to keep going up. They're just not making enough houses. No matter what anyone says to you, they're not going to do it. They're not going to build enough houses because the rich want to stay rich and they store it in real estate. That's the way it works. So that's my only say on this.
Okay. Cool. So Microsoft, Meta, Google. Which one do you think performs the best this week out of all three?
Google.
Right.
Google.
Why Google?
They're the most undervalued relative to their potential growth prospects. They're making all the right moves in terms of starting to cut back. Even now, cutting back on expenses. They're going to do okay. Microsoft is on the higher end of the valuation chain. Meta has seen nothing but nonstop growth. I mean, they might have a boost in TikTok getting banned, which is amazing if it happens, because I think that was more necessary than people think. But yeah, I just think Google right now is very undervalued, especially considering just how much cash flow they generate and how much they can use that cash flow to keep buying back shares.
Okay, Vitaly, which one do you think wins this week?
Can't say Tesla, so I'm gonna go with
We'll
I'm
talk
gonna go
about
with
that.
Meta. I'm pretty sure Meta's gonna do better than all of them.
Why?
I mean, ad spending. Look, they're doing all the right moves, first of all, and including in AI. Okay, so we're not even going to talk about that. They're making all the right moves. I feel ad spend is increasing with them, and Google's going to benefit, of course, from this. But Meta is primed to go up higher. Google, I still feel it can go up a bit higher, but it's still feeling toppy to me.
Okay, Carlos.
I would take Google just on valuation. I think you look at the fear greed index, right? I think people are looking for a safe place that they feel like can park their money for a little while. And I think that would be Google right now because Microsoft is kind of rich. I mean, I think Meta's going to do really well this week. Meta is probably going to do really well this week. So it's hard to say, but they're richer, higher value than Google right now.
Here's the question: do you think Google issues a dividend?
That would change the.
That would change the game. I don't think they're going to do it, but if they do it, that would be exciting.
I think they should.
They shouldn't. Why? It's better capital efficiency just to buy back shares, though. Like, what do you get?
I know you say that, but they can do just the token thing that Meta did. 50 cents for whatever they're doing, which is
I feel like there's some
actually looked it
psychology
up.
there, dude. It makes you feel good.
It makes you feel good. It makes investors feel good. It makes other investors who are more dividend aware come into the market, and those kinds of funds look at it. So I think it helps the company out tremendously long term. Just like Apple was saved by issuing a dividend and buying a lot of shares back, thanks to Carl Icahn. It was because of him that you got your 5-10x afterwards.
And Apple's dividend was never, and still is not a lot of money. The idea behind it is, if especially someone in the chat posted that Meta would do a split. If they do a split, say a 5-to-1 split, you get the stock price down to $100, give a dividend, say about $1, then you at least incentivize people to hold it 10 whatever quarters, because you
I'm never selling it now. I thought I would eventually. I'm just not. It's going to pay a dividend and it's going to grow. No point.
I think Meta is going to do really well. I think Microsoft is a sleeper here because Dan Ives has been saying 7 out of 10 enterprise clients are using Copilot. That's up from 2 out of 10 7 months ago, which means if that Copilot number starts to blow out the water, subscriptions are going to grow. AI cloud's only growing better and better. I think 30% every year. And then GPT-5 is on the way as well. I mean, GPT-5 is rumored to be better than every model by order of magnitude. And that's going to be integrated into Copilot.
You guys pay for ChatGPT?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Is 4 worth it? Because I'm on 3.5 and I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah, 4 is worth it. Oh my God.
Is it really?
Dude,
like,
3.5 is like you're talking to a toddler. Like,
yeah, but for like most things, it does the job. What's the big thing where you go, oh,
it
man,
hallucinates too much.
20 freaking bucks a month.
But what do you use it for, Amit?
I mean, like summarizing things. I ask different questions, like ideas. Like I just talk to it sometimes. Like 3.5 is just stupid, dude. Like it just doesn't.
He's like, I asked 3.5. Do you think she likes me? And it doesn't know what I mean.
Well, I'm glad you bring up. Actually, I've been using Perplexity, Gemini, and also obviously OpenAI's ChatGPT, and I've also been using Meta's. And OpenAI has the best. ChatGPT is
the best.
Honestly, you can talk to it. That's what's crazy.
Yes.
You can actually speak to it and get cogent answers back. Say it again.
Are you on the 4? You're on 4?
I'm not on 4. I was using 3.5, but now that Amit is saying it's worth it to go to 4, I'm going to try that. But just the interaction, and in terms of just speaking, like actually speaking to because you can record your voice to translate it. It's very quick to translate it. It gets it correct. Perplexity did not do a good job, and Gemini did not do as well of a job. So OpenAI has some magic sauce in there that the other guys just do not have.
It works. It works really well. I find myself using it more and more. And I do periodically just to test it against Grok. I test it back and forth. Grok's okay.
No, Grok is,
that's still feels like a novelty right now. It doesn't feel like
it's not horrible. It'll get better, but it's just not as easy.
It'll get better.
But it's shocking that OpenAI is so far ahead because I've been using both to see, because of my Google, I still have shares in Google, basically. I want them to be better, but they're just not. OpenAI is just killing it.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like we all should be way more bullish on Microsoft then, because they own 50% of that thing, and that thing, if the best model is going to win, technically, in the enterprise,
it is. But you know how it is when you're an investor. There's a difference when it's like in-house. Then if it's like, okay, yeah, they own 50% of that company.
That's true.
It's like, would you want to own the company? Would you want to own SpaceX, or like the company that owns 50% of SpaceX?
Yeah,
you want the, SPCX.
Well, hold on. So if OpenAI's valuation is 80 billion, does Microsoft theoretically have 40 billion out of that? Is that like how
they own 50% of it? Yeah.
But they did this 50% like cloud Azure agreement. Like, is that actual 50% equity? I'm like curious.
It was credits, right? Didn't they give it to them?
Yeah,
they gave it to them.
Still own them, I think.
Well, but okay, but if the Azure credits count as a payment, it's a payment. They paid them in.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they have equity and that equity is worth 40 billion, the street should add 40 billion to their market cap just for OpenAI. Theoretically.
Well, there's how you start the market open tomorrow. Someone needs to know this. We should do this right now.
Like, dude, if you own equity, like if that's not priced in, that's 40 billion of upside that has to be priced. Like OpenAI is not getting lower than 80 billion anytime soon.
But it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same thing.
Okay, let's move to the existential conversation, the conversation that will define all conversations. The
Look,
conversation
it froze KRIS.
it froze Chris. Look at Chris.
Huh.
He already knew what was about to happen.
He must be using Verizon Wireless. His 5G is really working out for him right now.
Yeah, from Hoyma.
Dude, what is this guy looking at, dude?
Yeah, toy miles and 5G from Verizon.
Oh, come on. You were frozen too. What's going on today?
Yo, everyone screenshot this and put the meme under, put like white text
Yeah,
under
let's
it. Like, what's the
screenshot
meme?
this. Got
Should've-
it.
what's the
Right, I
meme?
should have sold Tesla at 250.
What is the meme? What is the meme we do
Do I
here?
need more Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Verizon
funny.
5G is-
My
so
screen
frozen.
is frozen, but this is fine. There we go. I don't know.
Oh, you're dude, it's a rap album, dude. It's an album cover. It's got to be an album
Chris,
cover.
communicate to us in Morse code. Are you okay?
Oh, there you are.
Eating
Yo,
you.
speaking of Morse code, dude, I was seeing this documentary breakdown of Interstellar last night.
Oh,
It gave me even a deeper appreciation
yeah,
for
yeah.
that movie,
It's-
dude.
it's
When he does the
pretty-
Morse code, oh my god,
oh yeah. It's pretty serious.
greatest movie of all time. I'm calling it.
It's one
Greatest
of.
movie of all time.
It's
I
one
also
of.
like the way they did the black holes. They
Oh,
used
yeah.
real physics for it, you
Mhm.
know, or whatever we think is happening there.
Dude,
Yeah, and-
And
Interstellar.
the time on the
Top
planet.
five.
Do you remember the planet where every second he spends there is what, a year? I forgot what it
That
was.
was it was 7 years, I think.
Every
Every hour is 7 years.
every second on the
Every
planet.
hour was 7 years.
Every hour on the planet was one Earth day. So every time you heard that in the music, every time you heard the
Yeah.
tick when they were on the planet, every time you hear a tick, that's one Earth day. Because when they got back up to the ship, what the guy was like 25 years older.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
down there for like an hour because they got
That was real cool. Yeah, good movie.
crazy shit.
All right. Up or down tomorrow after earnings.
Up or down tomorrow after earnings.
Sold off 46%, dude. I wouldn't be surprised if it bounces up. I wouldn't.
I don't know about after earnings. When you say like right after the minute after, it might actually go down. But I think in the days leading, like the 2-3 days, I think it goes up.
You don't think they announce some horrible numbers that sells off to like
I think the numbers will be bad, but I think everyone's expecting that already. So it might go down a little bit more. I'm not saying that 135 or whatever, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be over 142 temporarily. I still think it should go lower in the next couple of months because, listen, bad numbers are bad numbers. But in terms of a bounce, it's due for a bounce. Like I'm telling you, there's a bounce coming. And it could be to 160 or so. So
I think a lot of the bad news. I think a lot of the bad news is baked in, but because of the announcement of the 8/8 event, it's almost like the numbers, like the actual numbers of the quarter, are a bit of a distraction, and I don't think they're going to get the same weight that they would because okay, the quarter was bad. Everybody knows it's always about guidance, and this 8/8 event is the next closest thing after earnings. So I think that's what it's going to really be all about. I think the reaction is going to be to what Elon says about the 8/8 event, robo-taxi, what's happening with the company. Because a lot of people were believing in the company and they're on board because they felt that $25,000 car is going to be announced like next week and it's going to be on the road in January, right? So this is a big deal. This is a big earnings call. It's probably one of the biggest in Tesla's history, I think. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I believe a lot of the negative sentiment around the numbers is baked in, and so we'll really have to see what the sentiment is. But it matters who shows up on the call. Is it going to be depressed and upset Elon, or is Mr. Go Fuck Yourself coming to the call tomorrow, being like, "Yo, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Fuck the numbers, we're going to the
he's
moon."
coming. That guy's coming.
I think
Yeah.
I think he's coming tomorrow, bringing the guns, and he's going to come in guns blazing, inspirational, right? Talking about the positives of the company and why this move to robo-taxi is a big thing. And I think we'll know it's a success if over the next couple of days, you start seeing more of that being the conversation in mainstream media, not the missed numbers, not gross automotive margins. Does that make sense? That's where I think we'll get our indication.
Well, I just want to bring back, when I know it's not the same stories. Obviously, Tesla's different, but when Meta dropped, when all these companies tank, when Nvidia tanked to 100 or so, and then Meta to 88, everyone thinks they're going lower and lower, and that they'll never stop. Eventually, they do stop, and they reverse because these are super high quality companies. So yes, this can absolutely go lower, but if you're not thinking about buying Tesla now, then I don't think you're going to be buying. I don't think you're going to want it at 115. Like, what is the difference? What is your major difference if you agree where it's going in the future?
Yeah, and that's why I say, like, people give Tom Lee a lot of shit because he's like eternally fucking bullish, right? But in general, people want the markets to go up, right? And I think people want to see Tesla succeed, or a large majority want to see the company succeed. So just taking a page from Tom Lee, I just think when you look at what the company's doing, if you just ignore what's being said about it, like all of the opinions about it, and you look at what they've done. You look at the release of the Cybertruck, how well received it is. You look at that latest video of Sandy Monroe. He was so I've never heard him talk about a vehicle that way before, about the Cybertruck, how impressed he was with it. The unboxing. You think about what they're looking to do in the future, this idea of robotaxi, the bot, energy. They are very, very well positioned. And keep in mind, we're talking about this company like it's going to zero. They had the #1 selling vehicle last year. So if they're not doing well, then who's doing well? And all these other companies advertise all these things. So I think Elon's coming in. It's like, the daddy's home. He's going to clean house, just like we saw with a bunch of the other tech companies. They did what they had to do to get us through the pandemic, to get us to here. Now everyone's stopping and saying, what do we need for the next level of growth? I think that's what we're going to hear tomorrow. I'm optimistic. I really think we're going to hear something really good tomorrow, and the stock should be okay in the short term.
Well, no, the immediate thing of the call will probably be lower. Like the immediate reaction, I think is
okay, but like the next morning.
But like I said the next couple of days, I feel it is going up.
There's a lot of I think this is the most shorted Tesla's ever been in a week, in a long time. I think it's this week. There's a lot of short
puts against it.
Yeah, Friday.
I heard there's a lot of calls too. Aren't people buying a lot of calls for this too?
For this week,
volatile.
Everyone's 0-day options now. I'm going to buy options for Friday.
Chris, go ahead.
I think there's two main issues that is going on at Tesla that's very unique to them, that is not like NVIDIA or like Meta. So I'm not sure we get a Meta or NVIDIA like reversal with them, because they're a lot more dependent on the consumer. I've been saying this, and I'm going to keep saying this, until the consumer really wakes up to the idea of EVs being the norm. There is huge amount of pushback against EVs, and Tesla, being primarily an EV company, is going to feel the brunt of that. Yes, some of their other businesses are definitely going to be counterpoints to that, but for the most part right now, if you look at the numbers, they're trending in all the wrong directions. Revenue is flatlining at the top level, and if they're doing all these cuts, that means that revenue is further going to be staying relatively the same, if not possibly even declining to a certain degree. Then you have operating income, which has been going down materially over the last 12 to almost 18 months. And that does not look like it's stopping, especially once again, if you consider all the price cuts. And operating margins are going down as well. If you think about all the input costs, they're going up because you're paying higher employee salaries and everything else. Now, yes, they're doing a layoff, but the layoff also means that they might actually have some demand problems going forward. So right now, even at today's prices, let me finish and then you can say what you want. They are valued like a growth company. This is not a growth company. This is a low margin hardware business. Eventually, they can become a much higher margin business. But right now, that does not seem to be the case. And so right now, I think the bottom is still not in for Tesla. I can't tell you when the bottom is going to be for Tesla. That's just not how things work. Eventually, I think EVs will become the flavor of the day. I do think that there's other competitors out there that are gaining some traction, like BYD in non-US markets, that are going to pose competition for Tesla. But right now, I don't think the bottom is in, and tomorrow is probably going to reinforce that. And I think it goes even lower tomorrow. So we'll see what happens.
I think Chris is right. I think this shit tanks tomorrow, dude. I think it fucking
very
tanks.
possible. Yeah, very possible.
I think it absolutely tanks, because Elon's not going to say anything, I think. And I have a counterpoint to my point that I'll share in a second. That'll get the street super excited about robotaxis.
You have a counterpoint to your own points?
Yeah.
Now?
So like here, let's listen. This is a 1-minute clip. This Bloomberg dude, Ed Ludlow, he talked to some people about what Elon's going to say tomorrow about robotaxi that might make the street excited.
Directed that the focus be on a purpose-built robo-taxi. My understanding from sources is no, the $25,000 EV is not cancelled or scrapped, but it's highly misunderstood. And the relation between the two of them, a robo-taxi and a cheap EV, is that Tesla can't do both in parallel, apparently. So the way it was explained to me is that Tesla has done a lot of work, both on the components that go into a $25,000 EV and the production method of how it's built. And that work was always destined to show fruition in late 2025. But how it manifests itself is not some kind of standalone cheap single EV model. What they'll do is take that work now, based on the new emphasis on robotaxi, and put it into their existing lineup, Model Y, Model 3, and future iterations of it, and lower the price on average of their EVs through that method. Musk himself has directed.
I don't know what the fuck that means, but
in a nutshell, he's saying what we've known: the $25,000 vehicle, the compact car, and the robotaxi are the same vehicle. It's more about the production. It's more about the production aspect.
but I don't think that makes sense, because at the end of the day, the street wants volumes and margins, and if it's the same thing, there's going to be no volumes from this $25,000 car.
But if Elon goes on there and says it's a low volume vehicle, that we're going to make $100,000 on each vehicle, because it's
How do
low
you make
volume.
100,000 on it?
If it's a low volume robotaxi only, and we're going to put these vehicles out on our network, there's not going to be that many vehicles. So
But how does it make 100,000? That's what I'm confused.
like
Where do
it
you get
starts to make money? If they're saying we're not going to sell this vehicle, we're going to
license it? Well, so it all depends on
make money
FSD.
on this vehicle.
It all depends on FSD, and I don't think it's solved yet, unless it is solved.
Look,
right?
what's his name? James Gouda. What's his name? James Gouda, the AI expert. Elon liked a tweet from him today where he basically said, and if you know the tweet I'm talking about, you can pull it up, that Tesla knows where the car is going to be in 6 months in terms of where FSD is going to be. The current build of 12 has a 2023 year on it, because it was actually built last year. So he's saying that this event is likely because they are so bullish. They know where this software is going to be in 6 months, and 6 months would put us in what? October. So he has an idea of where the company, where the car, where the technology will be in 6 months. And that, to me, and if he liked the tweet, that's telling me that they know where the car is going to be in 6 months. You do this event now, you get the cars on the road by the end of the year. Yeah, James is largely correct. We know roughly what the car will do in 3 to 6 months. When a more advanced AI model is trained, it will have several breakthroughs, but also a dozen bugs. It takes a few months to fix those bugs and complete the safety test.
The problem is Elon is the boy who cried FSD, and he self-described himself as that. So even if he's saying 3 to 6 months, I mean, what if that's bullshit, right?
Someone responded something similar to that, and I responded to them saying yes. And I hate to use the term, but this time it is different in the sense that he's doubled the whole company down on it. It's never been done to this level before. If this does not meet the expectations of even the most bullish, it's not going to be really good. It's not going to be good for the company. It could be a thesis change.
I want to point out. Oh, go ahead, Carlos.
It's just simple. This is different. It's different to say we're going to have this next year, blah, 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 versus we're betting the whole company. Here's the event. You're going to fucking love it. Tesla's in the toilet right now. You don't want to be announcing something that's going to shit the bed, right? You want to have something that stops the momentum in its tracks. I think we're going to get that at 8.8. But if we don't, it's going to be a fucking reckoning for the stock if that is a bad event.
I've got a preview of Elon's call. Well, go ahead, Vitaly, and then I'll show you guys a preview of Elon's call.
Yeah. I was going to say, look, I don't trust Elon's timeline at all. So that's not why I'm going to be starting to DCA again. It's because, once again, if Elon came up to you, let's say in the beginning, he said, look, I'm starting an EV company. You're like, yeah, I'm not going to invest in that. That's going to fail. Okay, well, it didn't. He made that succeed. Then Elon comes to you and goes, well, I'm going to do a rocket company too. Well, that's going to fail. I'm not going to do that. So what's the point of doing that? I have to wait at least 10 years, Elon, to make $1 trillion. So it's the same situation. So if this doesn't take 2 years, which I think it won't, I think it'll take longer. I'm driving full self-driving. It's very difficult. It makes a lot of mistakes, enough mistakes that lives can be put at risk in some situations. We almost hit another curb just yesterday or 2 days ago.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so my point is, you don't buy this stock because you think tomorrow's quarter is going to be great. That's not why you're buying Tesla. If you are, you're a lunatic, because it's not going to be great. It's not going to be great for a year. Okay. So you're buying it because you understand where this is going. And if you do understand that, then you'll give Elon 3, 4, 5, 6 years, whatever. I'm good. Well, I'm willing to give him another 10. In fact, that's why you buy the stock. But if you're expecting tomorrow to be good, oh my God, you're a terrible investor.
Yeah, I think we all got to kind of look past. Let's look past tomorrow. It's going to be fun. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch.
Are you guys? Do you guys want to join?
I would go.
What time is that? What time is that?
I'll be live at 3:30.
Wait, but when do they announce the So they're gonna wait. We're not gonna get that till after the bell. Who's going before the bell?
And Enphase is tomorrow too at 5:30.
yeah.
5:30 Eastern.
So I'm gonna be with Neil on my channel. So if you guys are free, then come on. We'll do Enphase and Tesla. We'll have 30 minutes before. Well, we'll both will come at the same time.
Just ping, just like shoot a group test. Whenever
Okay.
I should be around. That would be fun. I think that'll be fun to see. Just to get the
Enphase and Tesla. Usually Enphase and Tesla are not on the same day, but
and that'll be interesting.
Maybe Enphase is hiding behind Tesla.
that's low key.
They're like, nobody will care about us.
He's like, is this on? Is this on? Oh, so go ahead, Tesla.
Dude, no one cares about anyone besides
No
Tesla
one-
tomorrow. That's
no
it.
one gives a fuck about
Tesla
Tesla.
has the
Yeah,
world's
yeah.
attention tomorrow.
Enphase is like, shh, another one dodged.
They've been above 110, dude. It's incredible the fact that
Amit, I have.
I've been buying. I bought today. I'm DCAing twice a week now. So
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the $90.
Here. This is
Oh,
a
I
preview.
have a preview of Elon's call
Show-
tomorrow.
Show your preview first.
Oh, you motherfuckers. Okay,
Demonetized.
all right. I'm putting cases on all you bitches. Huh? You think
Is this
you
gonna
can
be
do this
Elon,
shit?
Chris?
Jay,
Yep. Elon's coming tomorrow.
you think you can do this to me? You motherfuckers will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I get
They
finished with
build
you.
prisons because of me.
Shoe program, nigga. 23-hour lockdown.
Definitely
I'm the
demonetized
man
now.
up in this piece.
This is him at the with
You'll
his
never
employees
see the
for
light
sure,
of the
bro.
fuck you think you fucking with. I'm the police. I run shit here. You just live here. Yeah, that's right. You better walk away. Go and walk away, because I'm going to burn this motherfucker down.
Give him my pay.
All right, Amit, I got
Give him my options, bitches.
Well, I actually you bring the existential threat is if we don't give Elon his pay package, we should talk about that. And he actually leaves the company. I ain't staying too. I ain't staying.
There's no way he's not getting the.
If
12.
Elon's leaving, I ain't staying. And I
So-
think a lot of people have the same sentiments. I didn't buy this to buy a car company only. I bought it because Elon is the man to invest in. you know?
and with Drew Baglino and all those guys, everybody gone? Nah.
Well,
If
even if those
Elon-
guys stay, I'm
if
saying
Elon-
Elon is the force that brings the future to us. It's not any one of those guys.
And
Okay, Vitaly, if Elon leaves, will you take your investment and put it into a real founder like Alex Karp?
Oh,
Would
it's all
you-
going into
would you-
Palantir. I just want to see the whole world burn.
You got to put some of it into Karp, dude. If Elon's gone,
I mean, honestly, if I didn't have the Tesla investment, I would just go buy Bitcoin right now.
This is real time footage of
ridiculous.
Elon. on the
what
call.
is this?
Elon on the call tomorrow?
Oh God.
That's LA, dude. That's where I'm at right now.
Dude, I don't think Elon's gonna give a fuck tomorrow, dude. I really don't.
I don't think so.
I think he's too done with this whole Wall Street earnings. This is like his 100th earnings call by now.
yeah, he's
Right,
been in
since
more
2010?
I know, but he better care because his pay package is in the.
There's a big one.
He needs to get that too. He wants his 56 billion or whatever.
Everyone's gonna vote for it anyway.
I don't think there's any way he doesn't get the package. But if he didn't, dude, if they voted that down, no, the next day you will find out what the premium is on Elon as a CEO.
No, I think if he doesn't get it,
Whatever
then
that
he's
is gets taken right out of the fucking valuation. It's back to we're all gonna be talking about Ford Super Blue Cruise next week.
no more money's gonna come into Palantir, dude. People are gonna be like, "Where do I invest?" They're gonna go to Palantir. That's fine.
Palantir. Do you think that the money comes out of Tesla and goes into Palantir?
It's not going to fucking GM or Ford or maybe it goes to Nvidia. It probably goes to Nvidia.
No, but think about the next CEO of Tesla, right? Is he gonna? They're gonna be like, the robotaxi thing is dead basically because no CEO is gonna go risk
do
his
it.
job.
yeah.
That's never gonna happen again. So we
Okay,
need
so
Elon.
last question: if he's got to pump the stock tomorrow, how do you think he's gonna pump it?
He's not good at that.
He's just gonna talk about FSD basically. That's all.
Yeah,
Or
he's
he
not
would-
good at
No, but he said before that the stock price is too high, so he might just go on tomorrow and say, "I believe that the stock price is a bit low,
No, he's gonna be like, "I'm taking this bitch private, dude." Imagine he says that shit.
funding secured."
If
Funding
he says divvy, if he says the word divvy,
Hey guys, what if they do a buyback? What if that saves the stock?
They approved it already. I just think that they haven't done it. I'm pretty sure it was approved.
he's not going to do it now. There's no way. If you're
No,
going,
but
if
now
you're
the
going
stock
full
is
force-
good enough to buy back. It's cheap.
That would make
I
sense.
know, but if you're going full force into robotaxi, and he knows it's still going to be years.
Oh, on the day after earnings, like Anthony Noto will buy a couple shares, Battery will buy a couple shares just to be like, hey, I'm in with you guys, you know.
Like,
Like,
he doesn't have to. They don't have to do a big buyback, but like
Yeah.
$100 million, $200 million, just to make people feel kind of like a little happy.
Nah, no, pointless.
they're not that kind of a company, but that would be the time.
That's true. They would buy like $1 billion if they actually buy back. You know.
He would buy 420 billion.
Yeah.
Here's a question: what would be his incentive to keep the price high, especially if his goal is to get his options package renewed?
Wait. So clarification: when you get your options package, that is the day of the stock price. That is the
No.
determining-
So first of all, it would be a retroactive from what I know about his pay package. So he would already get all the money that he was already promised from before. It's not like
No. He's vesting. I think
But
it's
it would be
another.
in stock. It would be in stock.
He
It would
would
be in
get the
stock.
stock, and he still.
it?
Here's where it gets
No.
crazy. He wasn't.
He has
If the
5
package,
years.
if the package wasn't shot down, he wouldn't be allowed to sell those shares for 5 years. But the question is, if they reapprove it now, does the 5-year count?
Yes.
start
Yes.
over?
Yeah. Does it start
Does
over?
it start over? If it starts
Yes,
over,
he has to hold it for 5 more years.
Oh no, Vitaly's right. Vitaly's right.
that's
Yeah.
then
This is a whole new thing. This is
Yeah,
not the old thing. The old thing's
I
dead.
get it, but you hear my point. Even if he gets the same money, same shares, same everything, you now have another 5-year holding period.
Yeah. Which is why it's aligned with shareholders. It's a good. So hold on. So if the stock's $100 in June, he gets his options at June at $100. Is that what you're saying, Chris? You think
No,
that's-
I'm saying that if you are trying to come up with, hey, why you need Elon Musk, it's right now. The lower the stock price, the more likely it is that people will come to Elon as, oh, Elon's our savior. We need,
Oh.
I mean, look at what Vitaly just said. If Elon's not in, I'm gonna sell. Like, so basically, you have no conviction.
I
in
don't
the
know. I
company
sounded
or
that way.
the
but
product.
thank
You literally are following the one-man cult. So it just means that right now, the lower the stock price, the more likely it is that people will gravitate towards Elon.
Yeah, but Chris, it works the other way too. Those retail people, they capitulate, they get sad, they see their portfolio, they sell. Right now, actually, this is interesting. I'll show you this chart. This is super fucking interesting. Look at this. I've never seen which window is it? Hold on. It is this one.
All I know is if Tesla tanks, I'm selling my SoFi options on April 29th, and I'm putting it all into Tesla.
So this is on visual stocks. This I found was interesting. All right, if we go down here, just look at the institutional. Look at it. 41%, 45%. It's literally retail against institutions tomorrow, and then like the insiders are in between. You guys see that?
Yo, so it's more retail driven, right? 57.
Well, it's 41% retail, 45% institutions. So we're just about the 50-50, and then you've got the insiders 13% sitting in the middle. So this is interesting. This is interesting to have such a high percentage of retail ownership in a stock of that market cap is quite massive. We're going to see them fighting tomorrow. That's
I'll be the bigger man and not make fun of people on the pod.
It's a joke, dude. It's a joke, but it's funny. It's funny.
Oh man! But does anybody know? Does he have to wait another 5 years, or do I have to ask ChatGPT? This is where I would ask ChatGPT. Hey, does Elon have to wait 5 more freaking years?
Dude,
I don't
what
think
if
it has
Tesla
up
just
to date
goes for-
information.
What if he announces FSD level 5, Tesla goes to 180 tomorrow? Like, it fucking just like
That's not happening though. Come on.
but like, why do you think Elon's so confident? Like, he's nonchalantly tweeting about random shit. Maybe he knows something we don't know about earnings.
He does know. It's hard to fake like that level of confidence. I mean, they know they're seeing this software. You're seeing it. Even us, we're seeing it in our feeds that this software seems to have had its ChatGPT moment.
No, it hasn't, dude. What ChatGPT
Nah.
moment? What are you talking
12
about? Vitaly said he got a curve. He almost died.
12.3. But again, I don't even want to start that conversation. If you look at what the software is doing and the roadmap of improvement, it is a vast improvement. And not only
It's a
that,
vast improvement, but it's not ChatGPT.
but it's also it's that moment where because look, ChatGPT 3 or whatever came out, and it was like, wow, this is amazing, but it still wasn't great. It still hallucinated. 3.5, now 4. You keep building.
The problem is there's low stakes for wrong answers with
Yeah.
ChatGPT, so nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
The problem is when my car aims for a rock or a curb, there's high stakes, and I give a shit.
why-
So
but
now I know I have to pay attention to full
why-
self-driving. That
that's why
means it's not
people-
full self-driving.
Dude, they literally call it supervised.
Yes.
What the
Yes.
fuck? Like it's supervised. That's
Yeah.
not like autonomy at
Yes.
all. You know?
But they're different things. You have to understand that is like the full autonomy level 5 Johnny Cab from fucking Total Recall is like the end game. There's a lot of steps between then, and there's a lot of money to make on the way there. Right now, it's a fucking data. This is all about data right now. And why I think we're seeing the lower prices on FSD and the focus on it is because Tesla knows that like right now they're operating in a bubble and people make fun of FSD and talk about it being 5-10 years out. What happens when NVIDIA comes out next time and says, we're having our full self-driving solution? Then people will suddenly fucking start taking it seriously. This is not 5 years out. This is not 10 years out. This is not even 2 years out. This is going to launch this fucking year. I don't think people are ready for this. It's launching this year, and we'll start seeing this network fleshed out at some point next year. And mark my words, one of these other companies, and it's most likely NVIDIA, will announce something this year that will be like a competitor to what Tesla is doing in the same way that they're doing it. And that's when I think people will say, oh, Tesla was in on this a few years ago. Maybe we should give them a multiple, because now someone like NVIDIA, who the market does take seriously and don't care about his politics, will say, oh, wow, he's legitimized it, right? That's
Dude, I'm buying
The
Tesla.
only reason they take
120.
NVIDIA seriously is because NVIDIA has massive revenues that are growing. And Tesla was taken very seriously when their revenues were growing massively. And now that they're shrinking, they don't care as much. It's the same thing that'll happen to NVIDIA if their revenues shrink.
Yeah, if Jensen was tweeting politically like Elon, I think his stock would still be fine because the company is so good fundamentally,
Yeah.
right? Like if Tesla was putting up Nvidia numbers, Elon could say whatever the hell he wants. Like no one would care.
Well,
So-
I don't think so, because when they were, it was
It was $1 trillion, dude. It was 1.1 trillion.
right. But that's
If I send them out my car right now, just by
That was-
itself, it'll crash into a curb in like a minute.
just,
Okay?
really,
So
just think about this. That was like
I don't know where you're
Tesla
hearing
was
this year it's going to go live. That's
Tesla-
crazy.
I mean, dude, okay, you keep thinking it's 5-10 years out.
I'm using it.
You're
I'm
keep
using
thinking-
it every day. Super useful.
You keep thinking that robo-taxi network is 2, 4, 5 years out. That's 100% wrong. It is launching this year.
Dan Ives said it's not coming until 2030.
I mean, he can say
No.
what-
Even if it's launching, well, that could mean a lot of things. Like, but there's once again, we talked about a launch has to be people are in it without, and there's a ride happening.
no.
We talked about this.
What that means, yes, and the first few rides will be exactly what Whole Mars is doing with a person in the car, that he's taking them to a destination. That's what the
Well,
first
then-
taxi rides are going to be. Exactly what you're seeing online, except someone's paying the Tesla network for it. It really is that simple. I just think you
yeah,
know,
but then the car's not really. There's a guy sitting there in
But
control of the
that
car.
is the robo taxi network. At first it's supervised, and it gets better and better as it trains, and eventually they will be completely
Well,
autonomous.
no, we talked about full self-driving as the car driving itself.
It is
And
driving.
the test would be the car driving itself,
It is driving.
not a guy taking over when there's
It is
problems.
driving itself. This was the
Sort of
plan
like
from
Waymo. Like
Autonomy Day.
Waymo's
This is the plan from Autonomy Day. First phase, Model 3 taxi. Okay, we plan to buy all Model 3s back after lease runs out. Simple conversion is necessary. Gradual deployment of vehicles into Tesla network. Purchase for $25,000. Revenue opportunity, hundreds of thousands per car. Now, granted, this is old. They've been telling you this for years. It's only mostly bullish Tesla investors and the haters that seem to think they know how this is going to play out. They've been telling you this for years, and I think they actually now have the confidence that they can do this. That's what I think is coming to 8.8.
All right, let's see. It'll be fun tomorrow. Make sure you get excited for earnings. This will be
For
really cool.
For the Tesla share
FSD will be 1,000 people in India controlling the car. Now that I can see. Absolutely.
Yo, Stranger Things. Maybe that's why he was.
25 cents a mile.
Maybe,
That totally makes sense.
that's why he was in India.
Dude, it's gonna be
Oh,
hilarious.
that's gonna be fun stuff. All right, gentlemen.
All right,
And real.
Chris, any last thoughts on Tesla?
No, man.
Nope.
We're good.
All right.
We'll see what
See you
happens.
guys tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.
Later.
All right, bye.